Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'd like to call the November 1st regular Committee of the Whole meeting to order. I have the village clock at 6:01. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Brennan.
Present.
Trustee Galante. Here. Trustee Mahoney.
Present.
Trustee Mueller.
Here.
Trustee Sullivan.
Here.
President Glass.
Present.
Thank you very much. We're in full attendance. Moving on to item number 3. At this time, I would look for a motion to consider approval of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on October 18th, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Give it to Dennis this time on the second. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll for item number 3?
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
That motion carries. Item number 4, consider Class EV liquor license for Fratello's Cafe and Deli at 7101 West 183rd Street.
Make that motion?
But,
Oh, second. Sorry. You made the motion?
no,
No.
we'll have
You
a
guys-
discussion first. and then
Oh.
we'll make a motion.
Yeah, you guys all have the memo for,
Fratello's?
yep.
Awesome, thank you very much. Any comments or questions for the board on item number 4? At this time, I'll look for a motion to move item number 4 to the
I jumped
village
the
board
gun.
meeting later on this evening.
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Colleen.
I'll second it.
And thank you, Bill. And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on item number 4?
Roll call for item 4. Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes,
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
that motion carries. Item number 5, we will consider a purchase agreement for certain property along 179th Street for a water boosting station. Taking it?
I will take this one. Thank you, Trustee Mueller. This is just a approval for a purchase and sale agreement for a small parcel of land on 179th Street from Gallagher and Henry. It would be for the booster station that will help increase water pressure on that side of town and help with future developments, one of them being the Loyola development. So this has been in the works for a while. We appreciate Gallagher and Henry helping us out and meeting us at the table on this. So again, it's just the approval of the purchase and sale agreement.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Questions or comments from the rest of the board? All right, I'll make a motion to move the purchase agreement for the boosting station to the village board meeting later on this evening.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dennis. And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on item number 5?
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes,
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
that motion carries. Moving on to item number 6, we'll consider a community development professional fee deposit. I think, Dan, you're taking this one?
Yep. So this is not any type of a new fee that we're putting out there. It's really just a deposit for pretty large developments that happen that will help basically guard our general fund. So we have developers that go through developments and either stop for whatever reason, or once they complete it, maybe we get a bill in later from, it could be a consulting engineer or attorney or something like that, that they're required to pay. And then it's usually very difficult for finance to track them down. So this really just makes sure our general fund gets protected from kind of any bills that we have come in on these developments. It's kind of set as a default at 5,000, but there's built-in flexibility to either go up or down depending on the scale of the project. So smaller projects that are a small business doing a small project, we can either have it be pretty minimal and kind of work with them on that. But if it's something maybe like D.R. Horton, it might be a little larger. But the whole goal is just to protect ourselves, to not have kind of outstanding bills that we end up having to pay in the long run.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you for bringing it to the board. I know we've been talking about this one for a couple of weeks and months now, so glad we finally got it.
And a big thanks to Jarrell, who couldn't be here, but I know he did a lot of the front end work on this.
Awesome, thank you. Questions from the rest of the board on the community development professional fee deposit? All right, and I think this one's going to go to the board meeting next time, right? So not for tonight?
Correct.
All right, so I'll make a motion to move item number 6 to the village board meeting, not today, but the next village board meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on item number 6?
Roll call for item 6, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
That motion carries. Item number 7, the rescinding of the Fox College parking lot expansion ordinances. Is this one you as well, Dan? I think
Yeah, so
one's
this
pretty
is a
quick.
project that went back a couple years ago, pre-COVID. Fox College was gonna expand their parking lot, annex in a couple parcels, and we went through everything, even the annexation agreement and everything. Due to COVID, just kind of increased prices and also a decreased need for parking happening at the same time. They didn't go forward with it, so we kind of have these ordinances just floating out there that aren't being acted upon, so this is just really a cleanup, formally making sure the annexation, the variations are clear that they are no longer in effect. So,
Sounds very good. Any questions on rescinding the parking lot expansion ordinances? All right, I'll make a motion to move item number 8 to the village board meeting later on this evening.
Oh, second?
Thank you, Colleen.
It's 7.
Item number, oh yeah, sorry, 7, item number 7.
Roll call for item 7, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Item number 7 passes. Item number 8, consider an amendment to the Marriott annexation agreement, the recapture payments. I think this one, are you handling this one, Pat, or is?
That'll be me again.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
So this is Marriott Hotels. They're basically looking for a little bit of financial flexibility on the front end of their project. So they're looking to, there's a recapture that's a little over $440,000 that would typically be due right up front before they ever even break ground on the project. We've worked out that to kind of be a 5-year payment schedule, but there's interest on that as well, so 5% or
5% for
5%
5 years.
interest, yeah,
Yep.
over those 5 years. So thanks to Brad, we got a little breakdown of a schedule that's pretty clear about what payments will be due when. And that just gives them a little bit of flexibility to get in the ground operating before it's due. If it ever changes hands, everything that's due will be due at that point in time. So while this would transfer to another owner, it won't be because we're gonna have it be due kind of upfront with everything.
Sounds very good. Looks straightforward. Any questions from the board on item number 8? All right, I'll make a motion to move item number 8 to the village board meeting later on this evening. Look for a second. Thank you, Bill. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll for item number 8?
Roll call for item 8, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
That motion carries. We'll look at item number 9 now. Consider the renewal of liability insurance with Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association, and Hannah is tensing up over there, so I assume you're taking this one?
I will. Thank you, Trustee Mueller. So just to recap a bit, in 2021, we presented various options to the board as it relates to liability insurance. At that time, we did switch to the Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association, or IML-RMA. When we switched, we agreed to what is called the min-max policy, where it establishes a minimum but also a maximum premium that the village would pay in any given year depending on your claims experience. When we moved, we also moved away from high deductibles. For example, our previous workers' compensation deductible was at $300,000 and now it's at 0. In the 2022 policy year, so the policy year that we're in right now that will be expiring here come the end of December, our premium was $919,000 with the maximum contribution not to exceed 1.4 mil. So we have the renewal numbers before you today. The renewal for 2023 has a minimum premium of $990,000, so not much of an increase there. With the maximum contribution not to exceed 1.5 million. So this increase you're seeing in premium from year to year is largely just due to payroll costs and an increase there, not necessarily due to any negative claims experience or anything along those lines. Just to kind of, touch base on how our experience has been with IML RMA, we've had nothing but a positive experience. We've been incredibly happy and pleased with IML RMA as our carrier. There's been nothing but open lines of communication. If we have any questions or, any additions for our schedules or whatnot, they are very quick to respond and, feel very comfortable having them as our carrier for these different, liability coverages. So just to take it a step further, I know when we presented this previously, we talked about, the potential savings we'd be seeing by switching carriers. And running some reports, it's been very evident that we have experienced savings or that we will be experiencing savings when some of these previous claims close out. So, those savings are over $1 million a year, and we anticipate that they'll continue to be at that level, again, once these other claims from previous carriers close out. But we're in good hands. We recommend moving forward with this renewal. If we pay prior to November 18th, there's also 1% savings, so that'll bring the renewal number down to just over $984,000. But Dave Henwood with IML RMA is also here if there's any questions. But other than that, this would be, we'd be looking for approval on the village board meeting tonight.
Thank you, Hannah. Questions from the board? Go ahead,
Hey.
Diane. Oh, sorry.
Just could, go ahead.
You have the floor, yes.
Is it, can you just go over what's driving, what will be driving that $1 million savings after those claims are cleared out?
So under the previous deductibles, we essentially were self-insured to a certain limit. For example, a workers' comp claim, we had one bad claim and it hit that $300,000 deductible and we paid all that $300,000 underneath it. So now with $0 deductibles, we're not paying any of those costs. It's all covered under the premium we pay.
No.
So we don't pay anything outside of the premium up to that minimum contribution. Should we have a couple bad claims here and there, we could see additional costs, but we know that we will never go over that maximum contribution.
Okay, so it's just that the deductible, the change in that.
Yep.
Thank you.
In addition to just our claims, now that we're seeing, we've had a very good claims year, we're not seeing additional lawsuits, things like that, it's definitely beneficial to us.
But if claims, taking the claims out of it, because we can't control that, you're saying there's gonna be $1 million savings just because of the change in their deductible?
Yes.
Well, yeah, based on, you have $1 million in deductibles, you have $1 million in premium, the most we're gonna pay is 1.5. So even if we had an unfavorable claim year,
To
we're
the
still
cap.
looking at least 500,000 in savings. So, Mr. Chairman, if I
Go ahead.
I'm really pleased to see the renewal came back so favorably. I know that the industry is not, immune to market pressures. We're seeing in this such, inflationary environment. We did see a small increase in the premium, but that, in my experience, I think that's to be expected right now. So, I was really pleased to see the savings in our deductibles, and I'm happy to hear the customer service levels have been well received from staff, and I think overall been very pleased with IML. So I was excited to see this renewal.
Awesome, thank you, Bill. Other comments or questions from the board? Mr.
I
Mayor?
did, Mike.
Go ahead.
So the board switching to IML this year, you're saying that we saved over $1 million compared to if we would have had the other insurance carrier?
Correct, yes.
Perfect. Great. Great job, staff. Great job, board.
Awesome. So this one is on the village board meeting tonight, so I'll look for a motion at this time to move it to the village board meeting later on this evening.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Mr. Brady. And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll for item number 9?
Roll call for item 9, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brunner?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes,
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
That motion carries. Item number 10, consider a professional service agreement for legislative consulting with Cornerstone Government Affairs Incorporated.
Yes, I'll take that.
Thank you, Pat.
This is a renewal with Cornerstone. If you remember, last year, we engaged Cornerstone to assist us with the mental health center property, and and some of the other high-level legislative issues that we had with the state. They worked very well up until May of this year, when we found out we weren't gonna be able to get the legislative support to try to purchase the mental health center. We are right now re-engaging with CMS to start that process all over again. They listed the property in their surplus property list. Paul Grady and myself, and also Mike Delgado will be assisting and composing our game plan to renegotiate with CMS for the purchase again of the mental health center. We were also able to renegotiate with Cornerstone with an over 40% reduction in their fees monthly. So we were able to get that down to $4,000 now. So we've been happy with their progress, and they've already re-engaged already also with the state to assist us in this process to try to acquire this property. So what we have before you tonight, it's on the consent agenda.
Fantastic. I think we need all the help we can get there, so appreciate you bringing this to us, Pat. Questions and comments from the board? Diane?
I just want to make a comment. So in general, our legislators will not work with us, that we have to hire outside consultants to assist, is what we're saying.
So, yeah, some of our legislators won't work with us.
So this group will be able to force them to work, I mean, so this group can go in and
No,
smooth
so-
things over, or, I mean, obviously they didn't get to help us last time, because we haven't, we're still in the same spot.
No, they're assisting us with the process down there. I mean, they,
Pat, if I could, when you're done.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna add, trustee Galante, that not only do they assist with the legislators, but also there's a lot of bureaucratic work that's done down in Springfield, whether it's with CMS, with the governor's office, and other bureaucratic agencies that we have to deal with, including other agencies that may bid on the Surplus Property Act. So they're not only, helping with the, what I'll call, bless you, the legislative liaison piece of it, but also getting other legislators on board, not only our legislators, but other legislators that are downstate that aren't familiar with the Tinley Park area, that they talk to about and why it's important for the village to get that property. But also, I just want to point out the bureaucratic piece on the CMS side that we've had trouble with before, as well as the governor's office. So there's a lot of moving parts on this, especially on the Tinley Park Mental Health Center site and there's other properties. So, sorry, Pat, I didn't mean to cut it off. Yeah, all right,
If
thanks.
I can just
Good job, Paul.
If I could finish.
Sure.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I just want to note it. I think it's horrible that the Village of Tinley Park residents need to be paying another $48,000 because the people we're voting in won't work with us. And I understand the piece you're saying, if they're doing work that we can't have feet out on the ground there, and we're hiring them to do that work, that's different. But if we're hiring them because we can't even get the legislators who live close in our area to work with us, that's appalling to me, that we shouldn't be paying $48,000 for people because the people being voted in are working.
I would just add that, this is not unusual. Many large municipalities our size have contracts like this to help, especially on a project like this. And I know we just talked about the IML RMA, but there's also, we're a member of IML, but they're kind of a global liaison to us to Springfield and not necessarily a specific. So when we're dealing on a specific project like this, and if you looked at the surplus property that we're talking about, it is the largest piece of property for sale in the state. It is by tenfold. It's not even close. So it is, we know the challenges out there. We don't have to go into that. I know Clerk O'Connor is an expert on that. So, we've dealt with the EPA, the Illinois EPA. There's just a lot of moving parts to this one. So I don't think, I hear what you're saying, Trustee Galante, I'm not disagreeing with it, but in this case, it's not unusual in many towns our size, or the size of the Village of Tinley Park, take this route just when we're working on projects this size. And that's just the reality of the situation. It's a big project.
It's disappointing to me, very disappointing.
Other questions and comments from the board?
I did if trustee Galante was done. And just to add more to that, as far as legislators, we only have two that are adverse to the village that aren't helping us, and that's as everyone knows, Senator Hastings and House Rep Bob Rita. We have had an agreement with the governor's office to transfer that property to us twice in 2022, and once, I think it was back in 2020, and these individuals are working against us. So if you're looking for someone to reach out to, Diane, that would be the gentleman
Governor.
is Senator
The
Hastings.
governor, I think, should be reached out to.
Well, he is. The governor supported transferring, if I just said at the beginning, at the governor's request was for CMS to transfer that property to the village of Tinley Park due to the work from our lobbyists and our attorneys that have had, sat down and have conversations with them, and it was blocked by the senator of that district, Senator Michael Hastings. We've also had, the reason you have people like this, the police chief, he's had to reach out to Representatives Hurley and had meetings with her to help with legislation. It's unfortunate, but everyone has them. And it's the process to get through that. These people are down there every day. We don't have attorneys or staff that are sitting in Springfield working the rail, as they call it, as they're coming in and out of session all day long. So the $48,000 you paid them is nothing compared to if you had to have an employee sit there and pay benefits to stand at Springfield every single day to talk to these people. So that's the conduit to get to those people. So we also have from the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association, we have Christy De Laurentiis, who helps us with legislation. We also have from the IML, Brad Cole. I mean, that's what these guys do. The village manager contacted Christie, he contacted Mr. Cole, and then they have this huge network of people, and they work, and they ask them, these are our initiatives, this is what we're trying to support, we're looking funding for this area, we're looking funding for this, and then that's what Brad and Christie do along with our other lobbyists. It's unfortunate we didn't create this system, but that's the way it works. It's just like when Senator Hastings pulled his funding, Diane, for 175th Street and 94th Avenue. Luckily, our other lobbyist, the Rory Group, was able to get us $500,000 from Cook County to pick up for part of that agreement, or the money that the state was pulled from us. And you could also, if you're gonna reach out to Hastings,
I'm not
if you
reaching
could
out to
ask him,
Hastings, I'm reaching out
if
to
you
the
could ask him
governor.
for the.
Please don't interrupt.
If you could ask him, thank you. If you could ask him for the $15 million that he gave to Bob Rita too, we'd really appreciate it, because we can't get an answer. So, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'll just say, I know specific to the mental health center property, that property would change Tinley Park forever if we can get it in our hands, and we should be doing everything in our power to get it. And so I'm fully supportive of this effort, and every little bit helps, so. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, at this time, I'll look for a motion to move item number 10 to the village board meeting later on this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll for item number 10?
Roll call for item 10, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
No.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
That motion carries 5-1. At this time, we'll take a look at item number 11, consider fire department cost recovery ordinance.
I'm gonna just start out before Chief Klotz gets going on that. Just a little background on this. Back in 2019, we passed an ordinance for a hazardous material emergency response reimbursement. And what Chief Klotz will talk about tonight is further expanding this ordinance and amending it to include some additional items to that. So this is an ordinance that we already have in place where we do go after businesses and some insurance companies or people that are responsible for these hazardous material spills, but we're further expanding the recovery of fees for some of the additional items that the fire department responds to. So I'll let Chief Klotz take over from there.
Thank you. So as the memo stated and the attachment will go along with some of the menu of charging for recovery, just to give you an idea, since January 1st to current, we've responded on 499 car accidents. 110 of them have been on I-80. Just a little brief on I-80. We do not get any funds from the state when we go on an accident out there. The people that have toll roads that go through their town get a fee from the state. So we're at a disadvantage right there of sending our equipment and not being able to, get any kind of cost recovery. That last truck fire we had out there, that we were out there for 3.5 hours, unfortunately didn't fit into the hazmat because it was basically butter that was burning. However, we were out there for 3.5 hours. Under this new cost recovery, we could have billed for those and received funding for that. Most of this cost recovery is to keep our current extrication tools, any equipment that we use for that. We did have 19 car fires from January 1st to current, and 4 auto extrications, as you can see in the packet. It all breaks it down into different costs. So I think this is well overdue that we start recuperating some of our costs on these type incidents. Any questions I'd be willing to answer?
Thank you, Chief. Questions and comments from the board? I know the butter incident was just tragic.
Well, no, I'll just make a few comments about that. I mean, everyone knows that our town's population grows during the work week, and especially when we have events. I mean, sometimes we have up to 120,000 people here in town. I mean, so this is, it's a huge expense to our department, puts a great strain on that. I think this is a great way to recoup costs. We're one of the last municipalities in the area that's.
Yeah, I think I included in the packet the municipalities that are currently doing this. The difference, and Bill, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No,
is
you're
that
good. You're good.
a lot of them have their own EMS, so they're tying that into their EMS billing, and we don't have that element to do that. So this is why we're a little different, but nevertheless, we still have the right to charge.
Right. And the only thing that I'll add to that is that, when me and Chief met to go over this, it was the cost that would be, passed on to residents. And it's the only costs that are going to be passed on to residents. Well, there will be no cost passed on the resident, but it will be billing the insurance companies. Will be picking up the bill for this. So I think that was the biggest concern.
Correct.
And I think the much needed revenue to help offset some of our costs is going to be much needed. And like I said, we're one of the last in the area to start to do this. So I'm happy to see this kind of come together. So good work on it, Chief.
Thank you, Bill. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I have a question. Just
Go
to
ahead, Diane.
confirm, there is no double billing on our residents. We're not, with the ambulance company, what they're gonna bill.
No, they don't bill for any kind of, as the packet says, like fluid spills, extrication, blocking for the emergency responders and the police officers to keep them safe. So that's where this comes into play. They definitely do not bill for that. They can't. They can't bill for
I
that, so.
just want to confirm, no double, they wouldn't be, the residents are not gonna get billed for anything that they're already.
That the insurance doesn't cover, correct?
Any other questions or comments from the board? So I believe we're going to be looking to move this to the village board, not this tonight, but next village board meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's coming tonight.
Correct.
Yep. So I'll look for a motion to move item number 11 to the village board meeting on the 15th.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Bill.
I'll
Thank you,
second.
Bill, for the second. And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll for item number 11?
Roll call for item 11, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes,
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
That motion carries. Item number 12, consider purchase agreement with McQueen Emergency LLC for fire department apparatus replacement.
So that's why the last item was before this one. Just kidding. As my memo stated, unfortunately, we have the fire department has a 20-year large equipment replacement program that's been in effect for a long, long time. Being that the supply chain and delivery time for this apparatus has changed from 8 to 10 months to our last vehicle that's currently on order was 20 months. It is now 32 to 38 months for delivery. So that's about 3 years before we can get a fire apparatus. So this request is to try to secure the order and not receive any increases over that 3 years until the delivery is actually completed. Again, we could pay upfront. We could pay yearly, we could pay, it really doesn't matter to them. They just want to secure the order without any increases in that 32 to 38 months. Several municipalities, and there's some actually videos on YouTube where the manufacturer is actually coming back to the municipality and while the vehicle is still being built and trying to pass on some increases because costs have gone up. This is locking the price in, and there's no increase in over the year. My plan is to request about $866,000 over the next 3 budget years to pay for this apparatus. With that being said, there is going to be probably some cost savings once we get down closer to it, where we'll be able to trade in some of the vehicles, but we can't do that until we receive these because obviously the vehicles are getting older. The two that we're looking for replacement, according to our replacement program, one is supposed to be replaced in 2022 and one in 2025. So we're kind of on track with that. The 2022 one won't be delivered till 2025, but so we're a little bit behind, but I don't want to get too far behind. I have no crystal ball to say that the delivery is going to get better. So far, it's gotten worse. So if we lock this in, we'll be at that 32 to 38 month delivery. So
Very good.
Sounds very good.
Thanks,
Sounds
Chief.
like we're being proactive, so that's good. Questions and comments from the board?
No. Do you have an update on the one we have on order?
yes, so we're going to go for the first view of the vehicle, September of '23. Will be delivered in March of '24 is the tentative delivery date. That's the one we ordered
Save the
back
date.
in, when did we order that? May or June or April or May? So you could see that's going to help us out a little bit, but we're still short with the rest of the equipment. So I know it's a large amount, and but in the budgeting world, I thought that'd be good for you guys to see that this is going to be over a 3-year process. But we do need to sign the contract with them to secure the price locked into what it is.
Very good. Thanks,
Awesome.
Chief.
Go ahead.
Steve, what happens if the economy goes a little bit back to some type of normalcy and the prices go down?
Well, the price is going to be locked into what it is. If we prepay throughout this process, we will save some money along with it. So if we decide to pay it in 2 years, we could save a portion of that. As I said, the trade-in of a couple of pieces of equipment is going to bring that number down. They're really not too confident. No manufacturer's confident that there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel with a quicker delivery, if you will. I don't know if that answers your question, but
No, it doesn't. And so there's no other engines or ladders that we should be putting an order in for now? That
no, I think if we do this, I mean, maybe next year, we might be coming back talking about the same process. I think it's just gonna be a different process is what it is. It's different budgeting than what we're normally used to. Usually the vehicle was ordered and accepted within a year, which would be a budget cycle, but now we're 3 years. So that's the big difference. Maybe next year there'll be a change and maybe things will start getting a little bit better. I don't know. But this will hold us over for some time. But again, we got 2.5 to 3 years of keeping the other ones on the road until we get these, so.
Well, and Chief, you said that some of the manufacturers aren't offering this. So
No,
this is
no,
only-
no,
this is
actually,
specifically
most of them
for
are
peers.
not, and there's actually a new site that was started with the International Fire Chiefs about questioning about how many towns have actually come back. There was a smaller volunteer department that actually did a fundraiser, and then they came back halfway through the build and said, you need more money, because this is costing more money, and they said, we don't have it. So, we know that there's gonna be no increase with this manufacturer. The contract is clear, okay? The other ones have put in fine print that there could be increases over the year. Usually there's a yearly increase, which we will avoid all them also, so, and any additional cost for steel or whatever the case is, so.
Sounds very good. Any other questions or comments?
No, we covered everything.
All right, so at this time, I'll look for a motion to move the purchase agreement with McQueen Emergency LLC to the village board meeting later on this evening.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you, Bill and Bill. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll for item number 12?
Roll call for item 12, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Moving on to item number 13, my favorite item of the night. Consider direct purchase order from Gordon Electric Supply for the Public Works High-Density Polyurethane Duct.
Polyethylene.
Polyethylene? I've been saying it wrong my whole life. Mr. Urbanski, I think you're taking this one?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Just for your future reference, to make it easier, we just call it HDPE. In history here, Public Works has utilized for our underground street lighting infrastructure, the direct bury wiring. And as time has gone on, we've had a lot of issues with that burning out with the time, age and time and infrastructure failures. So we have been replacing it with HDPE duct with wiring included in it. It's a strange thing with our, post-COVID situations here. They're starting to sell us wiring separate from the duct where the previous factories have sold it installed. As you can see in the backup quotes here, 2 of the 3 vendors are selling us the duct separate from the wiring, which would require staff to pull over 5,000 feet of wiring within the duct during installation. We were able to find Gordon Electric Supply that was selling the 5,000 feet spool of wire and duct installed previous to the delivery. The cost is very similar to the 2 other quotes we received, and with the constant increase of copper prices, we wanted to take advantage of it being under our budget. So we're requesting committee and board approval to purchase 2 reels of 5,000 feet apiece for this duct.
Thank you, John. Questions and comments from the board? Looks like you got something for us, Dennis?
If they have 10 reels, buy it all now. It'll be no longer.
As Trustee Mahoney is familiar with, this is not an easy endeavor to find. I reached out to his tutelage to find some other software or other suppliers that we don't normally deal with, and this was not an easy task to find a supplier that, again, had the wire pre-installed in the duct.
Sounds very good. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, at this time, I'll look for a motion to move item number 13 to the village board meeting later on this evening.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, thank you. And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll for item number 13?
Roll call for item 13, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
That motion carries. At this time, we'll receive comments from the public. Would anybody like to address the committee of the whole today? Let the record reflect there are none. And do I have to make a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
At this time, I'll make a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Bill. And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll for the adjournment?
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Galante?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 6:39 PM, and we'll be right back for the village board meeting.